And Malcolm Roberts joins us now from Canberra. Malcolm, I've got to ask, what is it going to take to convince you, if not the CSIRO, the United Nations, the Royal Society of the United Kingdom, American Institute of Physics, the European Science Foundation, NASA, and the 193 countries who've signed up to the Paris Climate Agreement? If not them, what is it going to take to convince you that human activities contributed to the warming of the planet?
Well, first of all, you've got to stop using appeals to authority. That means absolutely nothing in science. The only thing that decides science is the empirical evidence. That's the measured data, the physical observations, the hard facts. That's the only thing that'll matter, and that's the only thing that will convince me.
And you're saying that all of these institutions and organisations don't have empirical data, don't have hard facts, don't have anything of the kind?
But there's no physical evidence for that. There is no human cause of climate change. Full stop.
Senator Roberts, I've got a copy of your CV here from your company website, and it says you've basically worked for coal companies for most of your adult life. So is that what's driving your campaign against climate science?
So that's another tactic people use to take people off the empirical evidence. So why are you implying that? Because all I'm asking people to do is not look at my background, not look at my beliefs or clubs that I join. Just look at the empirical evidence. You can't keep running away from that, Mark. That's the only thing that matters in science. I looked at it overall. After a couple of years of engaging in this, Jan, I looked at it and said, why am I doing this? Well, and going away without income. First of all, at freedom, I'm protecting freedom. Secondly, I'm protecting the environment. This is a huge environmental issue, and people are destroying the environmentalism and environment itself by following these lunatic policies.
Sorry, Senator, do you understand, though, why people would read your history and conclude, at the very least, do you understand why people would conclude he's worked for coal, of course he's against the argument for human-induced climate change?
Well, I do, because you guys have come up with, in the first place, with two erroneous claims, erroneous statements that have nothing to do with empirical evidence, and that sadly reflects what happens in the media, in politics, and journalism. So which things erroneous? The fact that you did or didn't work for coal companies? Which part's erroneous? No. What you've done, no, you asked me a question as to whether or not it would be easy for people to believe that. Of course it is, because a lot of people, sadly, have been dumbed down on the science, and they think that appeals to authority and claims of consensus and so on are science, when they're not.
Today by your side we saw Tony Heller. He's got degrees in geology and I think electrical engineering. He's also suggested, though, that the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre in the US may have been a hoax. He believes that US President Barack Obama was not born in America. Do you believe those things too?
I don't make any comment about things that I don't research and don't know about.
Sorry, just to come back to it, do you believe Barack Obama was born in the United States?
I don't know where he was born. I haven't done the research on that, so I haven't got a clue.
You know he revealed his birth certificate, right? He's got one and he showed everybody his birth certificate.
Good, that's fine. I'm a politician that is not afraid to say, I don't know everything. I'm not going to give you an answer if I don't know. I haven't seen his birth certificate. Now that you're stating that, sure, that makes sense to me.
So just talking about the person standing next to you, why are you taking his word on climate change if you can't necessarily back up his other conspiracy theories?
Well, you raised the C word yet again. We've never, ever discussed that C word.
Malcolm, just between you and I, you've mentioned that term a lot today, and I don't think the C word means what you think
I've only mentioned it once. That now,
is true,
since when has once become a lot?
All right, so what's next for you? Are there any other scientific theories that you'd like to throw out? Theory of gravity, theory of evolution, maybe?
Well, you know, gravity pretty well exists, doesn't it? There's my report dropping. So, you know, that's the empirical evidence. Look, gravity exists. Do they understand everything about it? Not quite. But we know it exists.
There it is.
You know, that's the empirical evidence. That's what I'm looking for.
Thank you, Senator Roberts. We appreciate you doing science on this show. Thank you for coming on.
Remember, empirical evidence is the only thing that decides science. You're very welcome, Jan and Mark.